Time to look at the betting from Saturday, and Steve Fletcher is the man to do that. Hello, Stephen.
G'day, Dallas.
Saturday, Carnival Day, the last Carnival Day at Rose Hill for the 3 weeks. What was the general betting turnover like?
Good. The last day, not so much compared to the previous couple.
It's sort of what did have a bit of a flat feel to it, didn't it? Being the Easter Day at Rose Hill, and just doesn't really fit into it, does it?
No.
Anyway, we get to Round Week this Saturday.
Yes.
Round Week, roll through, all of that. It might be a little bit of give out of the track. It's something that I suppose major punters are looking at with a delicious look to it.
Yeah, no, it should be a lot more betting turnover this week, I imagine.
Beautiful. Now, before we get into it, we mentioned last week about what you have to do as a professional punter to be able to ride the bumps and the hits and the misses and all that. And the $20 service has had a few misses in the last little week, but it's come back yesterday.
Yep.
The importance of being able to stay with it, and we've had a couple of little goes with somebody called Mitch in the chat room on our Pro Better Live service on Saturday afternoons. You might have a run of good wins, a run of outs, but overall it's going to win.
That's right. Yeah, you can't. There's no last race, so just keep level staking and should end up winning.
Yeah, that's the key to it, isn't it? Just not to panic,
Don't
and just
panic.
to keep rolling with it.
Yeah.
And we should be rolling with it strongly into Round Week on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure.
What we're seeing a lot of over the Sydney probably in the last 12 months when they're actually riding here, Shin, Bowman, McDonald really dominating. What's the betting viewpoint on that, and how that stifles betting, or how has the betting reacted to those three riders? How are you seeing it?
It's really dominating at the moment, isn't it? Like Saturday, I think Saturday would have been a disaster for the corporates because everyone comes up with them and they just hope that the run can't, because it generally doesn't continue like that. But they rode between them. I think they rode every winner, didn't they? Except for Kathy O'Hara.
Yeah.
So that's it's incredible strike rate, and that's a nasty day for every betting joint, I imagine.
So what you're basically getting it from the professional point of view, from yourselves and all the other joints that are on them, but also plus the recreational money.
That's the ones that they take on, let on. I'd say most people have won at Rose Hill on Saturday. Yeah,
fair enough. So not a bad day for the corporates, which everybody's really disappointed with.
It's terrible.
Kathy O'Hara would have been hard to lay though. I suppose in a Group 1 race, they might have got something out of that.
That would have been shining light on a very bad day for them.
Well, let's talk about the day. We'll start with the main race. You made on the site, preferment was the lay, which was right because it was very easy in the betting. It was around about a 2-1, 9-4 favourite early in the week, and got out to $4.40 SP, but much better on the fair. And Montaigne was the heavily backed runner, the 3-year-old running in the BMW, having its 100th start first prep. How did you read the BMW betting?
Went with Montaigne in the end. That was our best way.
Yep.
Storm the Stars, I think, was a little save we had in the end, but not a huge betting race. And I don't think that was the same case for most people. There was not that much interest from any of the smarter guys that I deal with. One guy backed preferment, a couple backed Montaigne, that was about it. There wasn't huge money invested on the race.
Fair enough. What did seem to be huge money earlier in the day is it somewhat. Just that rolling from the moment prices came out to an opening, and you just knew that when it was 2:10, 2:15 in the morning, it wasn't going to stay that. Talk to us about that type of move.
No, it just sort of picked itself, didn't it? We liked it. I think we were taking $1.90 towards the end, maybe even $1.85.
Yep. And
no, it did take $1.85
with the SP of $1.75.
Yeah, and they bet. Yeah, I think the top up was $1.90, wasn't it? And
they probably actually opened it up at $2 on early on.
Yeah, officially $1.90, I think.
But but it was you could have got it on course, but it was very limited. And
I think most people who back that rolled into the next winner, Malagira.
You said that you reckon that's probably the
biggest goal, ladies.
Yeah. And
everyone was on it and wanted good money on it.
Fair enough, and that's
nice horse.
And eventually got the run and went on it with it from there. One that they didn't roll it into, it seemed, was the following race, Old North. It seemed that there was an opposition to what was the four. I know Robbie was working around the Farlap form. Old North really just eased and didn't really seem that there was a big play for it at all, where it seemed pretty obvious after the race that it was the horse to beat.
Well, that was a brilliant ride, wasn't it, by James McDonald. There was a lot of money for Balmain Boy in that race, obviously with the
Well,
speed.
it was very obvious the track was playing to the inside, wasn't it? And was that an overplay? You think is the buyers can only do so much, surely?
What did start our main boy?
$7.50.
Yeah, well, it was double figures, I think.
Oh, yeah, well, truly, yeah.
Yeah. So, yep, I think everyone just sort of just read that and just thought Old North might be getting back and struggling to run on in a sort of a slowish run race. Predator was another one that's well back.
What's the advice to the rank and file there when the track bias is the obvious? I know Dominic Burns mentioned a lot of the time, have a look at what's being backed and then try to work out why. In that case there, that's the case. I mean, I know that it's only specific, it's only like individual cases. But that case there, it seemed to be overplayed. And in hindsight, when it was happening, it seemed to be, I suppose, and in hindsight it did. So to the average punter out there, what would be the advice on that when that's happening?
Advice would be probably back the ones that you know they're going to come into early, because and then they got into ridiculous odds really down my way at the $7 mark.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't be taking that.
No, but if you've got a ticket for $15 or thereabouts at Balmain Point, you're feeling pretty good.
And maybe lay a little bit back at $7, I don't know.
Yeah, or play a bit around it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is that the theory still applies, and if you keep betting over SP, you should win. Is that a flawed theory, or is that I mean, I know mathematically it should work itself out, but does it?
No, it does.
Yeah,
it has to.
Well, it has to. Unless they're on the wrong horses that keep getting beat, though, I suppose. But over time, you're saying the mathematics do even itself out.
Yeah.
All right, lovely. Moving on to, I suppose it almost covers Sydney. Well, we got to the last, and another one for the Blue Jackets and James McDonald, Havana Cooler. I know a lot of smart people had identified it from the trials. It was first up, and whilst it wasn't the hugest go on course, its price to what it was pre-post to what it started was almost half
pretty
of that.
Steady.
Yeah.
Sadler's Lake, I think, was probably the best backed in that race. Another one that was almost double figures into 650 or something, was it? But it was a pretty wide race. Nothing substantial on any run around that race.
Going to Melbourne, Crown. Crown bet, well, I suppose they're taking on runners a lot of places. And it was quite interesting to hear you say that you thought Petite Falou was one of the best back runners all day in Melbourne.
Yep.
And Crown had taken a set against it late. And they've been leading the charge in a lot of these things, and then a lot of everybody else is following it through. So whilst it's been very well back, the Flux is sort of showing a different story. Tell us about that.
Well, they seem to have an opinion, Crown, don't they? Unlike most of the other joints, and also they seem to get it right a lot more than the others. So they back themselves, and they'll keep on top dressing everyone else.
So despite the fact that other joints have taken probably a hell of a lot of money on it, and it's firm on course, and all those signs are right, that one person who's probably put their hand up and said we want to be a market leader in some aspects, that then causes everybody else to follow.
Well, of course they'll follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll think. I mean, they could work against them, couldn't it? You don't know what they're really thinking, so...
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know how you can be.
It could work against the other joints who follow, and then if Crown back start beating, so the double malarkey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't you? I mean,
at the moment, I don't know if they're doing that or not, but you own their rights. If people are going to copy you, then do what you want.
That's exactly right. It's nothing, it's just brinkmanship.
Yeah, that's right. Nothing fraudulent about that.
Not at all. What else was the best back runners in Brisbane? In Melbourne.
Petite Faleur, and there was one later on. Blackheart Bart was well backed, and in the
extra zero.
Extra zero.
It's just phenomenal, wasn't it?
Yeah, that certainly wasn't me, but
no.
It was pretty solid.
He'll come good eventually.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that was the right day to be on him.
He's had enough goes. Well, put it this way, it wouldn't be through lack of practice, would it?
No.
Yeah.
But and tried and Tide was backed again, but that might have just been loyal supporters after collecting the previous week.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool.
That's about it.
Beautiful. All right. Well, as we mentioned, it's a huge week this week, Stephen, and you're going to be providing your service for Sydney and Melbourne. Doncaster Derby Day. It's normally a great one.
Should be good. Yeah.
Well, put it this way, we'll be betting right up. That's one thing we know, isn't it? And hopefully we'll finish on the right side of the ledger, which you will over time if you follow it and don't give up and chop and change and whatever. Find your service you like, stick with it, and you will win.
Yep.
Lovely. Good on you, Steve.
Tomorrow too. Thanks.
Lovely. Good on you. Good luck. Steve Fletcher.